trainings available from the previous weeks too. So, because
Okay.
I'm recording it. So I'm
Mhm.
actually starting the recording now. So I can send you the trainings from the previous weeks too. Hold on one second. Okay. All right. Now we're live. Okay. So welcome. It is Camp Holiday week number 5, and we're excited because we've been mapping out how to make $5,000 profit by Christmas. So we started our trainings in September. So if you missed any of those, I do have those available in our boards app. So I can just like send the link over, and you can go back and like see all the resources and the training. So I'm actually going to share my boards app real quick, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So because our training today, we're going to be talking about October ideas. So this is our boards app, and you can see here, like all of the previous trainings are here on here for the last 4 weeks. So you can just go back and click them and copy and paste that and go back and watch them, any of them that you've missed. But here's like the whole game plan that we've been focusing on throughout this season. And so we started mapping out at the beginning of September, and we're really building up, because really October and November are like two of the biggest, and then into December. Now people are really starting to think, okay, we're in October now, we're getting like a lot closer to Christmas. Okay. Where September is like they're getting excited about football and all the things, right? Now we're like, okay, we're getting closer. And then by the time November comes, they're like, oh gosh, I gotta like start shopping, right? So we've really been mapping out this game plan, and this is how you make $10,000 in sales between September and December. And even if you have not started, you can start now. Okay. So this is the breakdown. And if you said, like I always tell people, you can always scale this back a little bit. If you're like, hey, I don't want to quite make $5,000 profit, but maybe I'd like to make half of this, then you could just cut some of these in half. So you could always customize your game plan however you want to. Okay. But what we've been focusing on, because some of the things, like if you notice here at the end, a pink weekend and an open house, I normally do those in November. Okay. So we're going to do our training on those topics kind of towards the end of October to get you set up for those things in November. So those two things you really don't have to focus on right now in your business, because I usually do those in November. So the ones we've really been focusing on are like these first ones here. Um, and that is just like really moving some product. Last week we talked about wish lists, how to get wish lists from people that helps you make sales as well. But holding new appointments is going to be key to your success, because whatever you do in September and October, that's going to give you more people to work with when it comes around time to like contacting your wish list, doing your open house. And you can do a virtual open house. I'm going to teach y'all how to do that. So don't worry. You don't have to have like a location or anything. And then doing like your pink weekend, that's going to give you more people to pull from when you start building your business this month. Okay. So, y'all can just go back. I'm not going to go over all of these. And one other thing is like, you can start talking to businesses this month about doing their holiday shopping with you. We'll kind of train more on that next week of what you would say and things like that. And then the pillow gifts, that's just a little gift that they could put on their pillow for their spouse or spice, as a little gift. And that could even be now. It doesn't have to be necessarily a Christmas gift. It could be now, or I have people that buy those like as a little hostess gift. Like maybe if they go to somebody's house for Thanksgiving and they don't do all the cooking, and they just want to take them a little something, or they get invited somewhere and they just want a little something to give them. That's a great little gift for that. Okay. And we'll talk more about those next week as well. Because right now, this week, like we're really still focusing on getting in some appointments. So I know it says makeovers there, but that can just be appointments in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be makeovers. Just appointments in general. And I'm going to share with y'all this week some lead generating ideas for October, some October ideas. And then, holding appointments with 3 or more people, that's considered I like to call them beauty experiences. I don't really use the word party, but that's considered a party, okay? And then all of that honestly is gonna build up to you selling 10 miracle sets, right? So those are the 3 categories on here we've really been focusing on hard currently, because that's going to really build your business first of all, but give you a lot to pull from when it comes to holiday sales. Okay. And even when we talk about like having your holiday basket you can carry with you, we're going to start diving into some of those things next week. But like I said, I'm going to give you some October ideas this week to really get launched off. So go back and like check out that plan and kind of map out your game plan if you haven't already. So we're going to talk about October ideas. And I love this this October strategy. So here's the cool thing. It kind of breaks it down because sometimes you may look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's a big number. Like, for example, $1,200 in sales. Okay, if you ask me, how am I gonna sell $1,200 this month? I'd be like, I don't really know. But when you break it down to daily or getting in front of people, that is where it's at. So honestly, I just focus on getting in front of people myself because I just don't love numbers that much. But anyways, when you get in front of people, when you connect with people, you're going to be moving product in your business. Okay. So if you wanted $1,200 in sales this month, that's just $40 a day. And y'all can see how that breaks down. And easily you would create that if you're in front of people, if you have appointments on your books, right? And some of you are new and we're going to be doing your launch event and things like that. So try to get as many people on that as possible if you're just getting started off. Also, we have those weekly events that you can invite guests to, and you can have glow kits go out to them. We're calling them glow kits this month because that's just so fun. But it's basically a beauty pack that goes in the mail to them, and then they get to hop on one of our unit events and use it. And that's a great way, like no extra time out of your day, honestly, to start creating some great customers. Okay. And then sharing the opportunity. That's another thing. I always love focusing on, like, okay, how much product do I want to move this month? And how many people do I want to share with to build your team? Because that really maximizes both way. You can build income in your business, right? And you don't want to leave money on the table. Okay. So sharing the opportunity. If you share with just one person a day, that's going to be 30 people you shared with all month. Okay. And then it kind of breaks down there at the bottom. If you were to do 30 shares this month, you could potentially, okay, these are just numbers. This is the average because they say normally about 1 out of 5 people start their Mary Kay business when you share with people. So that would equate to probably about 5 new team members this month. Okay. And y'all can see if you keep going and doubling that, how that increases for you. So if you said, hey, I really want to build my team this month, even if you're brand baby new and you're like, I don't know who the heck would even want to join my team. For example, Heather, you're on our hair right now. And like, I didn't even know you before we had an appointment. And then we talked about the business and you're like, maybe. And then you finally decided like, hey, I want to do this. Right. So not that I called her every day of the week and said, join my team, join my team, join my team. But like honestly, for example, like I see tons of people and not everybody is interested, right? But I do share with everybody because I never know who needs what in their life, right? Like we were talking to somebody yesterday and like we didn't really think they were interested, but then they had just found out the day before they lost their job. So it's like, okay, well, her life just changed suddenly. So now she's like, okay, this is where I can make income, whether it be for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? So just I always share with everyone because you never know what's going on in people's lives. You really, really don't. Even when they look like they have it all together, sometimes we don't, right? So this just really gives a great game plan of how you can build your business. Okay, let's talk about really quick. I love this. So some of you may have a contact list where you're like, there's people you already know that you haven't reached out to yet in your business. But sometimes you get to that point where you're like, okay, I've kind of like seen my friends and family. Like, where do I go from here? I love this lead generating idea. So really quick, I'm going to share with y'all a couple lead generating ideas as you're starting out your month. And I don't lead generate for very long, just enough to get going, right? And then when I hold appointments, I get referrals and all those kind of jobs. So I love this idea. It's just a fun little Facebook post that I usually do, like in my customer group on my main thing. If you have a community group you're in, you could do it. I just have them comment a number, and then I usually reach out to them with a beauty experience as their gift. And I usually just do a gift card amount, and they can use that towards their appointment when they have their appointment. So that's just a really fun little game that you could play, just to create some activity, create some leads in your business of new people that you could interact with. Okay. So that's a really fun idea. Another really fun thing is this time of year, there are a lot of events happening, a lot of events. So like I did a job fair the other week. I have a bridal show coming up this month. Um, but there are a lot of like fall festivals. Like we had a Lakeside Live near us last weekend. There's a lot of like school things, church things. So that's another thing you could do. Now, I will say that does take time to go set up and do all the things, right? And so I don't do a lot of them just because I don't have a lot of extra time with small kids to be somewhere for a time period, but it just kind of depends on your schedule. But I do some occasionally. Okay. And this is a great time of year. So if you're like, hey, I need some leads and this would be a great way to connect. This just kind of shows you an example of something you could set up, just a table, a tablecloth. And I just do some entry forms. So I think I had the entry forms. Well, no, I can send them to you. Okay. You can kind of see them there, how you have entry forms people can fill out and just kind of enter in. And that's how you could get some new leads as well. Did you have a question? Oh, I thought I heard something. Okay. You could do some new leads. So there's a couple different ideas. You could do like guess the number in the jar. Some people have like a spinning wheel. Um, here's some fun little ideas on there of just different types of booths that you could do. Okay. Another thing you could do is this time of year, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So these are some fun little satchels that you can put together. And you can honestly give these out anywhere to just raise awareness. You could do this even at a table. And we have the Mary Kay Ash Charitable Foundation, which supports women with cancer's research. So, you could do this at a bunch of like several different places or on the go, just kind of have some in your bag and even hand them out, and then have them enter in for a drawing when you give these out. But you could create some of these up, and it's just a little awareness card basically in there that just says, hey, like, check yourself out, like just make sure nothing feels abnormal, that kind of thing, and just kind of raises awareness for, and I do have the printouts of those, but you can probably see them in the bag right there. But it just like has a little information of what to look for basically. So it just helps raise awareness, but it's also a way you can um you know, lead generate, but also raise awareness for the foundation and just for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Okay. So it's a great cause. All right. And then the last couple ideas I had with you is boo bags. And I'm going to share with y'all how you can do Mary Kay trick or treat style. Okay. And you could do this all month long. You also could do it at trunk or treats. You also could do it like if you live in a neighborhood and you have a ton of people stop by your house and trick or treat, whatever, is that you can make little boo bags that you can take with you all month long. And you just put a little piece of candy, your business card. If you don't have any business cards yet, I have just printed some off my computer before, to be honest. If I was like in a pinch and just needed to create something real fast. But it's just a little bag that you give out, and then you have them enter in. I always, if I give anybody anything, I always have them enter in, like if I don't already have their contact information, because you want a way to follow up with them. Okay. And I say that because I don't want you to go give like 50 of these out and then you're like, well, no one called me. Right. So I always get their contact information to follow up with them. So that way, they don't lose the bag or whatever. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's just a really fun idea you could do. And here's a little picture here where you put the boo bags in a pumpkin, and you could just take that pumpkin around with you. And you could have another pumpkin for the kids and the boo bags for the moms if you do like a trunk or treat or trick or treat at your house, that kind of thing. But then you could also just have some with you like all month long. So this just gives you instructions on how to make those. Okay, I'm not going to spend much time on that because that's just super easy. And you can always, I'm going to share these documents with y'all as soon as we get done on this boards link. So you can pull all this back up if you're like, hey, what was in that? How do I make that? You know, that kind of thing. Okay. And then the last thing that I wanted to share with y'all today is the Halloween bundle. Okay. I'm kind of just giving y'all Halloween ideas. And that way you can go ahead and prep for anything you want to do this month. Okay. So that way you kind of have it on the front end and you can make your strategy for October, what you want to do, where you want to do it. And this is something great to sell all month long. Honestly, leading up until, and these are products that even your customers could use even beyond Halloween, before Halloween, beyond. But this does just make Halloween makeup easier. If they're going to be doing Halloween makeup on their kids, on themselves, this makes it so much easier to get off, to stay and to get off. So the primer is going to help make the makeup easier to remove, but you put it on before your makeup. It also helps your makeup stay on. Okay. And then the oil free eye makeup remover is amazing. You're not like scrubbing a ton in the micellar water. That's just going to help prevent them having to scrub tons of makeup off. So I always sell a ton of these. Even promoting those now before, because that you want to be able to get them in for them before Halloween or before they start trunk or treating, because some people start like mid-October going to events and dressing up. So, you know, this is a great thing to promote now. And here's another little fun image with just the oil-free eye makeup remover that you could utilize. Okay. So those are kind of the main things that I wanted to share with y'all today. As far as, I don't want to give you too many ideas where you're like overwhelmed and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I even do? But I would really encourage you to focus on getting some appointments booked for your month. And if you need new lead generating ideas, you can run with those that we talked about. And looking at that October strategy, like we talked about, because that's really like breaking that down, like, okay, let me focus on my October strategy just to really have a really great month in your business. Okay. So it's really simple. And it just boils down to connecting with people, getting in front of people. You can even invite them, like I said, to our virtual events. If you don't have the information on that, I will send that to you as well. But we do have those times that you can plug in people into, okay? Because some of you have a starter kit on hand and some of you don't. So some of you only do virtual and some of you do have, you know, materials to do in-person appointments. So kind of whichever you're running with in your business, I would just focus on getting that done. Okay. And go back and dive into any of the other trainings that y'all had. Does anyone have any questions real quick? That was kind of our strategy for today. We try to make this quick and simple, like less than 30 minutes on Saturday mornings. Cause I know y'all got busy days, football games to attend, all the things, right? We have our fire department family day today. So it's a busy day over here too. Okay. Well, I'm going to stop the recording. Hold on.